Alright, you lovely lot. Welcome to NE1's Mental Health Podcast, episode 1, with myself, Ray Elliott, and my good pal, adopted Geordie, Sam Warner. This podcast is going to focus on all things mental health and wellbeing in the Northeast, and we're going to chat to people who've been on their own journey and people who work in the industry and work in or have something to offer to people that may benefit their mental health or wellbeing. And with that said, I'm absolutely delighted to have Dylan Mortimer from Karma Coast and Karma Collective with us today. Thanks very much for coming on, Dylan.
It's a pleasure. It's great to be here.
I'm obviously aware of what you guys do. I've been for some time. I think what you do is fantastic and the products you have are great. But could you tell us a little bit about what you do, how it came about and what you offer?
Yeah, well, I suppose the bones of it, we are a cannabis company, but on the hemp side, so it's a CBD company. A lot of people have probably heard about that.
Yeah.
We make everything ourselves, so it's bespoke. Organic, handcrafted, artisan products, and the mission of the company, I suppose, was just to improve people's quality of life in the community and further afield. We started 6 years ago on a little market stall in Tynemouth Market, which is just around the corner from here. It's actually on today, it's Sunday. And then 5.5, 6 years later, we're here in a lovely establishment. We've got a dispensary and won some awards, which we're very thankful for. And now we've opened this place as well, which is it's a wellbeing centre. So holistic therapy. We want to encompass all health and improve people's lives in further afield. I mean, I suppose the mothership is cannabis, but now we've got holistic therapists for ranging from psychotherapists across to yoga teachers. So yeah, we've got quite a lot going on here.
Fabulous. I think for me, like I say, I've been aware of your products, but I think there's still a sense with some people that CBD is an illegal substance, and I've heard a lot of people say, if I was to try CBD and I got drug tested at work and I would lose my job, or if I got pulled over driving, and that's absolutely not the case, is it? And
no.
And you've obviously taught me about the cannabinoid system and how that works, but could you sort of explain that for people who aren't familiar with CBD, or maybe is a bit apprehensive about trying it for the first time, and the benefits that could have to people's health and well-being?
Yeah, well, the word you just mentioned there, cannabinoid, is a compound, which CBD is one of them, found in the cannabis plant and actually in the human body, but I'll get to that later. So CBD is one of over 120 cannabinoids found in the plant. There's about 8 major ones. The two most major ones would be CBD and THC. Now, a lot of people probably have heard of THC, but for people who haven't, it stands for tetrahydrocannabinol, and this is the active compound in marijuana. So THC is really the only cannabinoid, the main cannabinoid that's illegal. All of those other 120 are legal, so they're willing to get amongst it and help you, As you mentioned, it does help a lot of different things. CBD is known as a promiscuous cannabinoid because it helps so many different things. It gets around the body, it gets everywhere. But the main reasons people would come and see us would be for sleep or lack of it, depression, anxiety, and pain. And they're all often quite closely linked. They'll just have a knock-on effect if you're not sleeping because you're in pain. But what is the sort of moderator or the conductor of the body with CBD is the endocannabinoid system, which you mentioned earlier, which is an indigenous system, much like your nervous system, much like your immune system.
So it's within everyone?
It's within everyone. It's in every cell. It's operating 24/7. And it is maintaining what you call homeostasis.
What was that?
It's a hissy log. Down in the back. Probably didn't like the end of it. So yeah, this system is it's maintaining homeostasis, which is the body's way of keeping everything in tune and in time. I like to say that the endocannabinoid systems, like the conductor and the orchestra, they call it a master regulator, so it's keeping all the other systems, like your nervous system, your endocrine system, it's keeping it all in tune and in time. You on endocrine system on the cello over there, in tune, if you could, so it's maintaining this homeostasis that's regulating mood, appetite, sleep, all these different things, massive regulator of inflammation. CBD is the most potent anti-inflammatory in nature. So most of our problems come from inflammation. So
it could help people with like arthritis or arthritical issues.
Absolutely. Arthritis, a lot of inflammation in the gut. So we have people with Crohn's, colitis, IBS. It optimizes all our systems, but it really, what I would say is it enables the body to heal itself. It doesn't react like a pharmaceutical. It's holistic, so it concentrates on everything, not just one little part, which a pharmaceutical can often do. Pharmaceuticals isolated from often a plant, so it comes from plant medicine originally, a lot of it, but then to make a pharmaceutical, they have to isolate and stabilize. Whereas a plant, it's always a little bit different. It's nature, But to make it stable, they have to isolate it, and then they can patent it and make a lot of money off it. But we work with what you call a whole plant preparation mainly. So it's all of the compounds, 500 of the compounds, all that goodness. Think of it like a whole food against a super processed food.
Right.
Much more easily accepted by the body. Yeah. So our products are like cold pressed and really gently extracted to maintain every little part of the plant, you see, and each part has a little part to play, each compound, which is called the entourage effect, which is a synergy between all of them compounds working as a team to create, it's much like the sum of the parts is greater than parts alone type.
Yeah. So that's a deep level of information, isn't it? And knowledge. Mm-hmm. So it feels like that stigma you spoke of with the THC against the CBD, for a lot of the public, it is a case of that education. So I imagine a big part of your service is actually people sort of have an idea now this time, CBD, THC, one is psychoactive, one isn't. Mm-hmm. But that level of knowledge where you can understand what it is you're benefiting from.
Yeah.
That's a big part of, I guess, the service that you're providing people.
Exactly so. And this is one of the reasons it's so important to have a place like this in the community, because, like you mentioned, the stigma over the last, say, 8 years, you could call it a type of prohibition, really, the cannabis plant is, they reckon, pretty much the first plant ever recorded for medical use. 10,000 years ago in China, and the emperor, I forget his name, but he was using hemp tea, to treat various different medical conditions. I mean, it goes back a long, long time before that. 200,000 years ago, some people say, when the cannabis plant actually originated in the Tibetan plateau. Mm-hmm. But education. So if someone comes in to see us, we take the time to sit them down and talk about, well, however, it's different to every person. We don't have a script we use, but people really benefit from taking that knowledge away about maybe the way it works in the body, a little bit of science. You don't want to overwhelm some people, some people just want a little bit, others will be like a sponge, but the main thing is to educate them how it works with them. The plant is, we've had a symbiotic relationship over many, many thousands of years, and some people say that's why we benefit so much from the plant.
Yeah.
So it's spread over the world from Tibet. People call it weed, but it does grow very easily. But just a little bit, yeah. So a little bit how it works with them, a little bit how it's extracted, a little bit of history maybe. All of these parts, these tidbits or these bits of information really add to the experience and the efficacy of the product. Because if you know that mind-body connection, really like sort of amplifies the healing properties of what we can offer.
Yeah. So do you find, was it 2019, 18 you set up?
So the primordial era of Compost was in 2018.
Okay.
But we didn't launch until the 23rd of January 2019.
That would have been around about the time I met you. I think it's probably worth revisiting that, because I'd just become a dad for the first time, and naturally I'm quite an anxious person. I have suffered with anxiety conditions over the past, and you were actually, I think it was just you. I think you might have a store in, is it Land of Green Ginger?
Yeah, 6 months after we started, we opened the store, but I was still doing the market.
Yeah, you were doing the market stall, and it was around about that time, because I'm from a construction background, and there was a lot of talk about it, and drug and alcohol testing. So I had like quite a bit of sort of trepidation about trying it. And I remember this one particular day where Jude, my little boy, he was just a baby, and we were walking around the market, and he was just crying, that anxious. Oh, it just sends shivers down your spine, doesn't it? Babies cry. And I was up behind, and it was a busy market day, and I bumped into you, and you were telling us all about it, and I thought it was really interesting. And you actually had one of the pens, and I tried the pen, and we were just chatting, and I'm not joking, I walked away, and a few minutes later I was just like, wow, I'm so relaxed. It was unbelievable. And so I saw it fit, and that had a real fast acting. It was, I think that one hits quicker than maybe the drops that you do.
That's it.
Yeah.
And
it had a pretty instantaneous effect on me, and it just brought me right down. And so I started with the pen, then I moved into taking the drops on a daily basis, and I've found.
And that was 2018, 19.
Yeah.
So back then, Dylan, the kinds of people that were sort of coming to you. How have you found that change in the last 5-6 years?
Yeah, well, I think I might mention to you last time I seen you, if you go to like business, sort of how to conduct your business and your business plans and stuff, you sort of have to target a specific audience. I hate all that stuff anyway. I'm not a salesman. I cringe at sales. I just like people to come and word of mouth. Tell people about us. But at the start, like I say, an actual demographic, but it's so prolific and help anyone, from a tiny baby up to a centennial. It's across the board, and with CBD being non-intoxicating, there's nothing to worry about on that side as well. But yeah, so starting on the market 2019, it was less ubiquitous, or it was less known as it is now. CBD
socially accepted.
Well, this is what I'm getting at.
It's been on a bit of a journey though, hasn't it? Because it went from that, where people viewed it as being like an illegal substance, to now it's in like shampoo and
they put it in everything. Ridiculous. I'm gonna have a range of products going around the corner and like down the street. It's just ridiculous. I wouldn't do that because there's no need for it. It's gimmicky, and we make a chocolate just with a local chocolate company because it's a nice thing, but I wouldn't recommend you to eat a bar of chocolate every day. The core products do what they do, and there's no need for anything else really. But going back to the customers, or the clients, it was ranging, but what I spent a lot of time on that market was convincing people, because obviously you've got the whole market thing. Del Boy, there he is. It's just opened a suitcase with some snake oil.
You've got that aura about you, like
the sunset with me money,
Yeah.
But yeah, so I spent a lot of time like telling people about the benefits, and I was blue in the face. People would go and then come back, and but giving a lot of samples out because like Ray explained just before, feeling how it worked.
Feeling is believing, isn't it?
Exactly, exactly. So I used to have these other little pens Ray was talking about. I used to have these in a little wooden.
What a gorgeous design!
Thanks, man. Slick, eh?
Yeah, lovely.
And there's something about the terpenes that you have in these pens, isn't there? Could you explain that?
So terpenes are, to be hippie about it, some people say they're like the spirit of the plant. And but really what they are is, so terpenes are essential oils, and they make things smell. You know, you smell a lemon, you're smelling a terpene called limonene. You smell lavender, the main terpene in there is called linalool.
Right.
So they are, you've heard of aromatherapy.
Yeah.
And it's famous for, relaxation or invigoration. So that's the terpenes doing their magic there. They make you feel different ways with the different combinations of them. So each strain of cannabis will have a selection of terpenes. They call it a profile. So around 10 to 20 terpenes in a cannabis strain. And if you think about the CBD, when I say cannabis, by the way, cannabis is across the board. So hemp, which is used in animal feed, it's make clothes out of it, it can make canvas out of it.
We used to do everything with hemp, didn't we?
Until the prohibition, that I mentioned.
The first Ford car,
Ford
was
can fueled on hemp as well.
Everything, paper.
Yeah. Well, canvas actually comes from the word cannabis. Wow. Henry VIII, it was in. I wasn't around then, but I've heard.
I think he could have done with a bit of cannabis, Henry VIII.
His marriage, yeah. But in his time, it was what's the word? You had to. I can't think of the word, but you had to grow hemp if you had land.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Because all rope, money for all rope. That term comes from hemp when they were.
Wow.
Because the hemp fibers are the strongest in nature, so the rope would last so long that the capitalists were like, I don't know, do that.
Yeah.
It's like the guy who invented the everlasting light bulb. It's not good for business, lads. So it's so versatile,
We used to make a lot of clothes out of hemp, didn't we? And I think it's coming back around. And I bought a hemp T-shirt. And it's still like day one.
It's interesting you say that, because right now, given the culture and the time and the climate we're in, where we're sort of everything to be, helpful for the environment. You would like to think we'd see
a fast fashion, eh?
Exactly, yeah.
And also the thing about hemp and cannabis in general is it sequesters more CO2 than any other plant. So it grows faster. It grows in 3 months. You can get 4 crops a year in the right environment. You'll sequester more carbon than any other plant. So really, there's a book by a guy called Jack Herer who I read when I was 15 that really started. It propelled me on the journey of fascinated in cannabis medicine, which is one of the reasons I'm here today. And I've been on my own journey myself through the years just before Karma course, which really helped. But the amount of things they can do with hemp, cannabis, hemp is cannabis. There's basically the levels of THC. Once it drops under 0.2% THC, it's classified as industrial hemp.
Right.
So 0.2% is nearly nothing compared to marijuana, which is about 20% THC, so it's not going to get you high. Yeah. But that tiny little bit will, like going to what I said before about the entourage effect, it really boosts that CBD, so this is why you need a whole plant preparation. But when I say cannabis, it's not just weed I'm talking about, not just, marijuana, it's the whole
physical material of the plant itself,
And when you look at a hemp plant, a classic hemp plant, it looks physically different to a marijuana plant. Marijuana plant, think of it like the hemp plant, like a marathon runner, tall and slender. And then the weed plant is the marijuana plant is like a
sativa, the smaller. Is it the sativa plant that's smaller and the indica plant?
The indica is classically the indica plant. Yeah, it's like the little weightlifter, like the little power lifter. It's like a little Christmas tree.
Right, that's it.
And then the hemp plant is tall and gangly.
Yes.
So they often grow like really close together in the fields. I mean, you'll see there's photos in this book I'm talking about of hemp plants like 30, 40 foot tall. The farmers in America, because they farmed it until it was huge in America. It's still huge in Eastern Europe actually, but it's
fascinating.
Reefer madness and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So you started with a pen, and you've got some of the.
Oh yeah.
Some of your products.
So these are a couple of the.
So the pen will give you sort of an instant.
Yeah, so basically, you know, like I didn't get to it, but the inhalation method is so instant because it doesn't have to go through all your systems. You know, it's into the bloodstream within 30 seconds, and it's into the brain, and you can start to feel relief, like you did that famous day on the market within about 30 seconds to a minute. You know,
So that could alleviate anxiety feelings and also maybe pain as well.
well, yeah. I mean, do you have a bad back?
I was suffering with a bad back, and that helped immeasurably. That's and when we talked, and you said, look, maybe look at doing the drops because they'll have like a longer lasting effect.
That's it. So yeah, so the drops are like what I like to call the foundation product. So these are cumulative in the system. They build up. If you're consistent with it, you know, you would use it twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day if you're in a lot of pain or whatever. But they can be used together, you see, because this is like the foundation. It's there. Each dose lasts longer. They call it the half-life, so it lasts around 6 to 8 hours. It's also cumulative, but each dose will last about 6 to 8 hours. So if you have it twice a day, you've got that all-day coverage, generally through the night as well. But then with the pen, because it doesn't have to be absorbed, it's absorbed differently and faster, and it's higher bioavailability, so the amount you can absorb into your system.
Right.
It's got not many middlemen. Basically, it's just into the bloodstream. So this is about 2 hours half-life, the amount of time it lasts in the system. So it's quick in, but it's quick out.
Yeah.
See, but it's 90% absorbed by the body, where this is about 15%. Right. So the combination of the two is an absolute winner, because you can you can look at this as like a top-up to, you know, if, whatever reason you're using it for. If you need that extra support, this is there. Like, you know, it's like in your little utility belt. You know, it's like your utility belt.
And there's different sort of grades or strengths to it, yeah?
Yeah, so the one we've got here is our 12%. So the oils come in 3 strengths. You've got 6%, 12%, and a 21%. Sort of like a quarter, half, and full strength, I suppose you could call it. The 21% we've lovingly nicknamed the Legend. Been helping a lot of people. I mean, they all help a lot of people, but we pull out the Legend in times of great need, you know.
Yeah. And this one, what is this? A balm?
This is the balm. Yeah. So this is a topical, so you can apply it externally to the skin.
How available does that become, Dylan? Bioavailable.
Bioavailable. It's not as bioavailable as the pen. It's more bioavailable than the oil.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because we've got, so going back to this endocannabinoid system, we've got cannabinoid receptors all over the body, in every cell, so all over the skin, you know. So this is direct. You can target a specific area. So, you know, like I mentioned, CBD is holistic, but it can also target, used it in the right delivery method, you know. So typically, we've got 2 different balms. This is our high strength, the black top. This is 1,000 milligrams of CBD. It's really concentrated. Typically, people will use this for pain, you know. So probably I would say the main reasons would be people with arthritis, you know.
Right.
And it's fascinating to see when they come in and say they've got 2 bad knees, and we put it on one just to see, you know, and then they'll be like scratching their head, like after a couple of minutes. Mm-hmm. It's just gone numb. No, it's not gone numb. It's just the pain's gone away, you know.
So is it the inflammation it's taken down?
It's taken down the inflammation, yeah. This is, you know, so the endocannabinoid system will upregulate or downregulate anything. You know, if you've got too much of something, it will downregulate. Upregulate if you've got too little.
It's fascinating.
It's fascinating, you know. So the cytokines, which are the inflammatory little messengers, you know, the guys go, come over here and let's crowd around this joint because you need to protect it. The endocannabinoid comes along and says, whoa, mate, just chill your boots. You don't need all them.
Is he a Geordie, the endocannabinoid system?
Working on the site. So yeah, like you can see, this is the oil. It's made with hemp seed oil, which is the carrier, and the oil itself it tastes a bit like mashed tea because we don't take anything out. It tastes so natural, you know. It's a little bit spicy. You know what it tastes like.
I do.
It's I love it, you know. Some people go, what's, you know, but if it didn't taste like that, it wouldn't be as effective.
Yeah.
So it's got the whole plant in it. It's got the whole plant preparation.
So in essence, you have a product that could suit pretty much everyone's needs if they want to come down and have a look. And
Absolutely.
try it.
Well, you know, when people come in, like I said earlier, I cringe at sales. Me and my partner Magda, who is you know, she's the founder of the company as well, and my partner in life as well. But we just cringe at selling stuff to people. We do. Obviously, we just wanted to improve people's lives, and cannabis medicine, you know, plant medicine, cannabis medicine especially, is such an amazing across the board way of helping so many different ailments and issues, you know. So everyone is welcome. And this is what I'm going back to when we created the brand, you know. It's like, get away from the head shop, the bongs in the windows, you know, the Bob Marley, the reefers and that. We've got to try and
come back to that education.
Yeah.
What actually is this?
Yeah.
You know,
How can it benefit
being more receptacle to it now as well, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, we are professional, but we want to, you know, look professional as well.
Mm-hmm.
We want people to come in and feel calm, and we want people to feel like they can open up. So, you know, the dispensary next door, as you know, it's a very relaxing, open, airy space with plants, nice chilled music, lots of like lots of like open wood, and people walk in and, you know, you see them just like, So it's like, it's, you know, and people listening to people and letting them talk, tell their stories is a lot of part of the healing process anyway, you know. So taking time to have that, like, that moment of time with people, whether it be half an hour, 5 minutes, an hour, you know, journey of years, you know, come back in, making this rapport with all the people. It's all important with the regeneration and the healing of
and the trust and the belief in what they're about to embark on is coming from an authentic, genuine place.
This is it.
So coming back to the kinds of people 5-6 years later that are coming in, then what are the ailments or the sort of the bigger reasons do you think that people are coming? Is it for pain specifically? Is it depression, anxiety? Are they the kind
Well,
of
I'll tell you,
cases?
lockdown, there was a lot of people anxious.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I was at this gig. I was telling you, I was at Lancome last night, and this woman, I had my hair out. It was quite a unique look, and you can spot me a mile off. And this woman came across the crowd, and she went, "You're the founder of Karma Coast." I was like, I was with my friend. I was like, yeah, happens all the time.
Quite a big deal around here.
She said, "Oh my God, you kept my sanity through lockdown."
Wow.
That's not wonderful.
Yeah. I didn't get into it too much exactly what she was using, but yeah, she came up and just said that, and a lot of people in lockdown use it for anxiety, you know, as everyone knows, it was a tough time. But pain is a big one for people.
So on a personal level, I know your tagline for the business is Heal Together.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to help people with a variety of issues, that must be incredibly rewarding to give something back to the community, because you're born and bred here, aren't you? Around this area.
Just along the road.
So and I've seen some of the, you know, the write-ups and the reviews that you've got from people. They're incredible, and I've stood in this dispensary and listened to people how it's affecting them, and I just think that's a fantastic thing, to be able to give something back and offer something that can help people and benefit people's all-round well-being. I just think it's an incredible thing to do, and like you say, you get to sit and talk about people's stories and get to know people, and you know, you're a
beacon.
You're a beacon. Yeah, absolutely. And I'll talk to people. You know, it's getting quite a big reputation around the area. You know, we talk to people and say, "Oh, Dylan and Magda from Karma Coast, I try their stuff," and you think, "Yeah, great." People are starting to hear about it. But like you say, hearing people's stories and personal stories, and everyone's got one. And I know you're one half of the founders of Karma Coast, but you are quite an interesting guy on your own right. I mean, you're a marathon runner now, actor, poet, singer. Run out with superlatives to describe you here, Dylan. You're like, just keep going. But yeah, just tell us a little bit.
You were saying, obviously, your story didn't start here. How did you arrive here? Was there an epiphany? Was there a moment when you knew this is what I need to do?
There was actually. There was like it's like a purple moment as well, I call it. It was in Prague. I was at Prague. I was doing a one-man show at Prague Fringe Festival.
Wow.
An absurdist comedy, like you do, you know. I'm just off to do an absurdist physical comedy back in a week.
Standard.
So yeah, I mean, like I say though, this sort of journey with the cannabis plant happened when I was about 15, and someone handed me this book that was just, it just blew my mind. If you, it's called The Emperor Wears No Clothes by Jack Herer.
We'll link it in the description.
Nice, yeah. It's such a coveted book now. It's really hard to get a copy of. But well, the original was, believe it or not, printed in War's End. The guy's American,
way.
you
No
know.
way.
The guy's American, and he campaigned his entire life for cannabis, knowledge and then it turns out that the original book's printed in War's End. Blew my mind a bit, you know. But yeah, so I smoked a lot of weed when I was younger, but then as it happens with a lot of people, your mental health starts suffering, and that I could talk about that for days. You know,
That's a really interesting point, isn't it? When you talk about separating the THC from the CBD, and especially modern weed and how it's farmed,
and we shouldn't separate. You know, going back to isolating compounds, whole plant entourage effect, the benefit of a whole plant preparation. Well, the THC level has gone so much. It's gone up so much during the last 20 years. You know, back in the 60s, there was about 12% THC and about 6% CBD in marijuana. And the CBD is like a seatbelt for the THC. It stops the skinsing out. It's actually an antipsychotic. You know? It will keep you calm in the face of being intoxicated with the THC. And it's, you know, they have that
balance.
Yin and yang. Yeah, exactly. And with the black market of you know, weed and marijuana, it's forced people to grow it. Well, not forced, but the criminals, they want the most money, so they've amplified they've bred the THC to be up to 30%, and with that the CBD's disappeared. So a lot of the weed you smoke will just blow your head off, you know.
Right.
So and this started happening when I was smoking. You know, when I first started smoking, there was a bit of hash and stuff, like tack as they called it, you know, council hash. Bin bag sticking out of it. But as I got older, my cannabis use, my marijuana used to went down and down until I was just smoking at the end of the night by myself, because I wasn't being sociable anymore. You know, this happens to a lot of people. But I smoked from an early age, which was, it's not really, I wouldn't recommend it.
There's a lot of studies now.
Still developing in you.
Yeah, over 18, at least there's 21 in America, which is probably best, you know. And I know people who started smoking later in life and they're fine, but loads of people I know who smoked early, they find it difficult with, you know, smoking nowadays. So yeah, I was on that journey with the cannabis. I'm from a sort of creative background, so my dad's a writer. He runs a theatre company. He's a journalist. So I was sort of brought up in the circus, so to speak, you know, like around a lot of creative people, and I played music since written music since I was young, and I ended up being a professional actor from when I was about 16, working in a lot of theatres, touring around. You know, I loved it, but then with personal reasons, I started getting depressed, you know, for no particular reason, but started self-medicating with anti-anxiety medication, and then being on antidepressants, and actually I found it hard, you know. It's quite a...
Did you smoke through that as well, Dylan, or were you sort of waiting
off and on? But I was winding it down, and like just at the end of the night sometimes, you know, literally like when no one's around, because if I smoked in a social situation, I just end up like this little shriveled spoon in the corner with no crack in this. You know, it's not me. I love to talk, and I love people, you know. So yeah, it was quite a dark time in my life, and I was drinking a lot, and you know, doing other things, and it wasn't cricket, man, you know. And then so I sort of dropped off professional acting, you know, and it was quite sad, because I've got a drive to be out there, and I love performing, and you know, all that type of thing. And it was my dad actually who wrote this one-man show for me.
Really?
Yeah. He runs a theatre company, and we'd heard about this fringe festival in Prague, which is It's quite prolific now.
Is that like Edinburgh Fringe style?
It's that type of thing, yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, little venues that aren't normally theatre venues. Our venue was down in, you know, they're like a vault. You know, these bars in Prague, these like crypty sort of looking things. It was, so he wrote this show and we put it on, well, we started rehearsing it. My friend who I've written music with for years, he was going to do the live score to it, but he had to drop out with a week before. So there's all this adversity to get over while we're rehearsing it and like getting everything ready to take the show over. And then we got there, started performing it, and the first night, it's just a comedy show. The first night went down, not the best.
Like a bomb.
It's such a, yeah. I mean, it was. I was happy with the performance, but it's the start, because it's a comedy. You got to give people permission to laugh, you know.
Yeah.
And it was in this vault, and we started a bit like Tales from the Crypt. I was in this chair, and it was dark, and there was this 5th century music playing, like, oh, and everyone comes in, and then I turn around and I start, and it was going to be a horror story. So the next day, Christ, walking around Prague, hearing like, you know, the Tetris theme. Yeah, there was this little thing. I was like, we could have that at the start and be doing all this like with the babushka dolls, and thinking about all these different ways to start a show. And then I heard Glenn Miller coming out this little old school radio. It's Chattanooga Choo Choo, which is a really happy tune. I was like, right, we can start it with me, because it was my house. This was the stage, was my front room, you know. Yeah. And we made it like a little country room. So we started with this little routine, you know, and I'm like doing this with the tea towel and all that, and it's like everyone's getting into it. And then once you're off there, it's not like wading through mud anymore, and you've got them on your side. Yeah. And then 2 days later, I got just before the 4th show, I read a review in the paper, and it was It was an amazing review of the show. Oh. So I was just like, that's when this like sort of purple moment happened. And I remember Charles Bridge in Prague, which is this beautiful 12th century bridge.
Yeah, it's fabulous.
I was on the bridge just crying with joy, you know, just like, oh. And it's like all of this stuff's coming off me. I was still taking the antidepressants, but I'd come down off them. I've been trying to taper down for ages, you know. And then Prague is, you know, like I say, Eastern Europe's more with the hemp. You know, they've grown hemp for thousands of years. And there was a lot of CBD weed over there, which is a thing. It's illegal over here. You can get it on the internet, but it looks just like marijuana. So hemp's been selectively bred to look more like the Christmas tree of the marijuana that I talked about earlier on. Yeah. And with that, the terpenes are higher, so it smells more like weed. And I bought some CBD hash from a shop, and like I say, it had been making me paranoid for years. So I was like, so me and the stage manager was like, after the last show, it's like, right, I've got this bit of hash, and we sat in this beautiful courtyard. I was like, well, this is the like deciding moment. Am I going to be paranoid when I go back to my hotel? So we sat and I rolled this joint of CBD hash and smoked it. I was like, God, I feel amazing. Wow. Really, like, not high. I just felt really chilled, like you would off this pen. You know? Yeah. And there was a big party for the end of the Fringe Festival, and me and him went and we got on the karaoke and we're singing Don't Look Back in Anger together. And it was like, well, I definitely wouldn't be doing that if I was high on THC. Yeah. So,
and that was a light bulb moment, eh?
It was a bit of a light bulb moment. I'd been using CBD before this, before Prague, using the oil. And it had been helping me taper off, you know. As we do, we help so many people come off antidepressants and other things. But that was the moment, and I came home and I was in this full like sort of clarity mode, you know. I could see so clearly, and I was sleeping like 4 hours a day. I was getting up at 5 a.m, going out walking the coast and just speaking to everyone about CBD and learning more and more and reading books and unbeknownst to me, I was preparing myself to, you know, embark on this journey, and the name Karma Coast, obviously, you know, like you say, it's a rewarding job, it's good karma, but it actually came from, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but the name came from, you know, you've got Big Pharma, and I was thinking, Big Karma, you know, Big Karma. and then like it just sort of evolved from there, and I had about 10 names. I went to this meeting and I had like a survey, and Karma Coast was just like, and then I met Mark down in my dad's kitchen, of course, and
As you
that's
do.
another story.
Right, yeah.
And I was thinking about, she was looking into CBD at the time as well, and
Because her background's in nutrition and
exactly,
yeah,
and health and
yeah,
personal training.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's got a lot of knowledge in that side of things. That's why we work really well together.
yeah.
We cover a lot of the bases. And she was like, "Why are you thinking about any other name apart from Karma Coast? That is the one."
That's the name.
And then and
here we are.
That's history.
So we obviously talked quite a bit about Karma Coast and CBD, and now you've got the Karma Collective, and I think you've got a bit of news about the direction you're taking with that as well, eh?
Yeah, exciting. So I mentioned that we launched Karma Coast on the 23rd of January 2019.
Yeah.
Signed the papers. So literally, what are we on? The 28th of January now. On the 23rd of January, a few days ago, we just signed the papers to create the Karma Coast Collective, to turn it into a CIC, so a community interest company, which means it's not for profit. So we run all this side of stuff purely, off our own back. We don't take a penny out of it. It's been going for 6 months now, but when we change it over to a CIC, we'll be open to lottery funding, to other funding. So basically we can offer subsidised treatments, whether it be psychotherapy, yoga, breath work, anything that's going to improve people's health. We can offer subsidised treatments to people who aren't fortunate enough to be able to pay for the full thing, you see.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
So it's
how,
absolutely buzzing.
How would people go about that if anyone was listening and were really interested? How would they go about getting involved in that?
So, we're very personable. Come in and see us. But if you're further afield, you can look on the website. We've got the Karma Coast website, which is karmacoastcbd.co.uk. There's links to the collective website on that. So Karma Coast Collective is a separate website, but we're all one. You can Google Karma Coast Collective, and that website will come up.
And you're on all the socials, aren't you?
We're on all the socials. Karma Coast, Karma Coast Collective, UK on Instagram. It should be easy to find. There's a wealth of information on both sites. You can look through all the therapists we've got working here.
Yeah.
All the holistic therapists, all the yoga teachers, all the other movement teachers. I think there's 14 teachers. 14 guys working here, whether they be nutritionists or psychotherapists, Reiki, yoga, all these different things. So yeah, we've got a little crew going on now, and everyone's so beautiful, and they've all got their own. It's like the entourage effect.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
So with nutrition and everything, is there going to be plans that you can put in place as well? People can leave with sort of a plan in place.
Yeah, Hannah, who works here, she is a top nutritionist, and she's creating plans for people. Yeah, she's a little wizard.
Exciting times.
It's fantastic that the connotations that this could have for people, and like you say, that holistic approach. Because I think when people look at mental health, they might always look at they might have went to the doctors in the past and been prescribed medication, or there's various things that people might be looking at, but having this here and being able to get funded for it and look at other ways to benefit people's well-being, I think it's a fantastic.
It ties in to where you began with the stigma of the oil itself. I think we're living in times now where these phones and the digital technology, the communication, everything is so fast, it's so finite, it's in, it's out, it's gone. Our attention, our ability to be present is kind of just being smashed to bits.
Really, really tested, yeah.
Isn't it? And now holistic stuff, natural stuff, I think people are giving it more and more. I think there's an intrinsic yearning for it, and hopefully things like this are just like your journey yourself, Dylan. You getting onto the antidepressants. Back then, I'm not sure when that was, but
it was over the course of about 10 years,
right.
So up until I mean, so like I said, Prague was in end of April, start of May 2018.
Wow.
And that's when I broke free of it
Well,
all.
that's the back end of it there.
And then, and met Magda in June 2018.
Wow.
It's literally like, but you know, it's like that. I was putting so much good out there, it's like, that's right.
It's coming back.
Yeah.
And it's good to see that you're a local lad and you're doing, you know, great things for the community. And one thing I do want to ask, and I'm going to ask everyone that comes on the podcast, is, you know, I love the Northeast. I absolutely love the people. I've been very fortunate to being able to travel and live in various countries and whatnot.
Yeah.
But there's always been a draw for me back to the Northeast, and I don't know what that is, whether it's just the culture or the people or the place, but I think we're very fortunate for what we've got here, and I'm sure you feel the same way. But what shocks me, having moved into sort of the mental health arena, is the statistics around mental health in this region. And we are leading the UK for suicides in the Northeast. And, you know, I think the last 12 month statistics that we can rely on from 2021, it was we lost someone to suicide every 27 hours, I think the statistic was.
Wow.
And you look at that and you think, why is that? You know, and this is the question I want to ask you, is why is it that, you know, I feel like we're from a great place, we've got a lot of stuff on our doorstep, we've got the beach, we've got the coast, we've got a lot going for us, and I love the people here, and, you know, we're famed for our sense of humour and having the crack. So why is it that people are struggling so badly in this region? What do you think it might be contributing?
I mean, I would think it would stem back to industrial times.
Yeah.
So still is a gaping hole. Not as much as there was, since, you know, the shipyards, the mines,
Heavy industry.
big contributors to people's monetary, not, but also, you know, just lives in general completely disappeared. It was just you know, pretty much in a couple of decades just disappeared. And that sort of toughness that we have as Geordies, which, you know, this goes back to being a borderland. You know, we've been fighting, and we've been in the midst of conflict for many centuries, you know. So tough Geordie blokes don't like to talk.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not everyone, you know. Everyone, I can't say that for everyone, but as a rule, you know, masculine, and I'd imagine a lot of those suicides are male.
The rates of suicide for males is incredibly high in this region. And going back to what you said, I've worked in construction, so everyone where I'm from, I was from like a mining community where the mine shut in the late 70s and 80s, and everyone I know sort of went into construction in some way, shape or form. So you had construction, mining, shipyards, or more close to home here, you had the fishing.
Fishing, of course, yeah.
And, you know, let's not make no bones about it, you've got to be a certain type of person to work in those industries. It's hard work and working class environment, wasn't it? And I think that built a real sense of community. And like you say, when we lost a lot of that, people were affected. But I think we do still have that hangover from, you know, you've got to be tough to do this. But I think we're mistaken that by, you know, being tough is not showing. You know, essentially you can't have emotions or you can't feel down. That's part of being a tough person. And I think until that,
changing that perception and that way people think about being tough.
Absolutely. Just because you raise your head above the parapet and you go, you know what, I'm struggling here, I might need help, or I want to talk to a therapist, or and reaching out. That doesn't mean you can't go and lay bricks. It doesn't mean you can't go and be a fisherman. It doesn't mean you can't provide for your family. If anything, it's probably going to put you in a better place to do all those things.
Exactly what I was going to say. And also, you know, you'll be setting an example for others who might need that permission to open up.
Yeah.
And, you know, the problem shared is a problem halved. Classic cliche, but it's so true. And
100%.
anyone who's shared some of their issues over the years or whatever might know how that feels when you just open up and it just, you know, the weight comes off and you're able to, you know, process and just you feel free of whatever's been going on, and it's the major first move you could do to help yourself on the journey.
And it's the hardest, isn't it? When you've been conditioned to not talk about how you're feeling from an emotional point of view. Like I felt like growing up, it just wasn't a done thing, and it was the hardest thing for me to open up and say, "Look, I'm struggling here, and I don't actually know what's going on." But when I did, I realised that was the most powerful thing you can do. Is talking to someone.
The ironic thing is when you do, everybody feels it.
That's it. You're not suffering on your own, eh?
Relief is, even if you're not the one to say something, you're just the ear, you're the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Something can come through you that you think, God, yeah, we're all trapped behind our own eyes and our own skin, and are they doing it better? Why am I not doing it like them? Am I achieving it? Have I made the right choices? It's all hidden in plain sight. It's tricky. It's tricky just making your way through this life.
And we're navigating strange times, aren't we? I mean,
it's the age of comparison. Everyone's looking at everyone else more than we should ever really be allowed to take in this information. Yeah. It's just crazy. So
that accelerates still enormously. I mean, coming back to what you're saying about the industrial times. I mean, you would live in your communities. You would know the baker and the cobbler, and know the teachers and the grocers. And now, as you say, we're looking into this black mirror, and it's impossible. It's impossible from a database point of view. You haven't got the ability to even begin to put that in any kind of meaningful order in your own life. Yet subliminally, it creeps in.
It does.
Just pulls you down.
It really does.
We're all sort of fighting that battle.
We are, and I think we'll look back on these times, and think, wow, how absorbed we were in this world of the palm. We have often with many things in life, you have to go there before you.
It's the
like
journey.
The wave,
The alchemist.
Yes, indeed. Santiago.
I know. It is, and I think, alluding to what you said earlier, Dylan, about having a physical place, this beautiful building, you're seeing people's faces when they come in, they feel the energy, not just of the building, but of you, the authenticity that you're here, that journey that the listeners and the viewers have just heard,
Well, that gives me a much more empathetic, standpoint.
Of course.
If I hadn't gone through all of that, I wouldn't take any of it away, and it's moulded me into the person I am today. I can relate to so many more people.
And use it as a vehicle to help.
Yeah, it's a bit of a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because we were just talking about this last week, because I now work in that field where I go around and I talk to people on construction sites. We both do. And it's amazing being able to give something back, just like you're doing here. And it does something good to the soul. But had I not have been through that hardship, and at the time I remember thinking, why is this happening to me? And but I wouldn't have been able to do the things I'm doing today and give a bit back. And I remember when I was going through my worst period with mental health, my uncle actually said to me, we didn't actually talk about where I was, but he said to me, when was the last time you ever done something for someone and never wanted anything back? And I was in my 20s at the time. And I remember saying, oh, I do it all the time, and he goes, well, just think about it. When was the last time? And I sat there and I thought, actually,
genuine.
I've never, I can't remember the last time I genuinely done something for someone and I didn't expect anything in return. And from that moment, it was so powerful. You talk about having those moments. And I started to really consciously try to help people where I could without wanting anything in return. And that for me was a massive turning point in my life. And ever since then, things have got better. Like your mental health's got better, and I've seemed to just, things I want to do and I want out of life, they come to me, and I truly believe it's because I'm trying to do the right thing and I'm trying to help people where I can.
Well, there's no light without dark, is there?
No, absolutely.
You can't see the light without the dark.
Yeah.
So you've got to go there, and it's quite across the board with many people who are doing something that they're really passionate about. It comes through adversity, and anything in life, really. Everything that's happened to me has given me, I've had a few moments like that in life, then cathartic times where you just get this opening, and it lasts for quite a while, but it's always come after a really hard time.
Yeah.
It's like bursts you out of it,
Yeah.
So anything worthwhile is often nearly
something as simple as as just asking somebody how they are.
Yeah,
Remembering
100%.
to ask somebody, are you all right? You know,
Yeah. We don't do that.
simple as that, isn't it?
Thanks for sharing all
Yeah.
that journey you've been on. And I think
Absolutely.
one
100%.
thing I want to ask you is, what if anyone's listening that might be struggling or looking for another way, what was the one thing that you can attribute to you getting better? What is the one thing that has really benefited you with your mental health and your well-being over years?
Well, it's a little bit of a tricky question because it's a holistic journey, Say to people when they come in here, I said it's not the panacea. It's very, the products are amazing. Don't get me wrong, but you have to, you can't just take that and sit and eat your McDonald's and never get off the sofa type of thing. So there's various factors. But I suppose never thought about this, but I would say the most important thing is actually being out there and creating a community, helping people, because you all support each other, and it bounces back like you're saying.
So connection. Do you think that's just
Connection and effort for improving other people's lives? I think that's like, that sort of what's the manifesting thing, so
it doesn't have to be anything like profound, does it? Like just making small.
Well, every small bit, they all add up. All of these little bits, and if I look now back to 2018, and someone said, "Right, you're gonna get here," I'll be like, "Whoa, mate, hang on,"
Yeah.
But like, sometimes I look back in all the stuff I've done, and I'm like, "Whoa,
what a journey!"
Yeah, but I think taking stock of what you've done is really important. Reflecting on practicing gratitude, man.
Yeah.
It's like a really important part. So keeping positive, like in looking at all the beautiful things that you've got around you, because there is always something to be grateful for. But yeah, I would say the journey of helping people as like it just comes back karma.
I think on that note, what better way to end it? But I think, do you want to just tell everyone who's listening how they could come and see you guys here, where it is you're based exactly?
Yeah. So we are in the centre of Tymouth Village, on a road called Percy Park Road. We're easy to find. We're on Google Maps.
Not so easy to find parking, but
not so easy to find parking. There's a metro, not nearby. Sorry. But we, we ship all over the world. We've grown since lockdown. Actually, lockdown was really important for us to. We obviously weren't open in the shop, but we worked furiously online. So we spread our wings quite a lot in lockdown, and now we have a lot of clients all over the country. People come and see us though for a consultation from all over the country, and then they'll go back and then they can just order online. We've got a subscription service. We do phone consultations. So if you can't get over and see us, we can we can talk on the phone or video.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, it's pretty easy to get in touch with us. We've got Instagram and Facebook, the classic socials. We've got a phone, and we've got a wealth of information online. A lot of the therapists will do Zoom psychotherapy or nutrition, or some of the therapists, some of the practitioners will even do Reiki, remote Reiki and breath work over Zoom and stuff like that. So we're pretty easy to access. And then with, coming a few months, we're going to start talking about subsidized therapies. So when we get the funding, that'll be all online to work out, to find out about as well. So there's loads of stuff out there, right? Both websites. Me, Magda, the other guys that work here, we're all available to talk on the phone as well, or video.
Fantastic. And we'll obviously include all the links to what you've just talked about when we share the podcast. And I think just probably the last thing to say, if anybody wants any more information, you can directly message us on the socials, and you can check out, we'll have the links whenever we share it across social media and YouTube and Spotify. And if there's anything you want to talk about or anything you've been affected by of any of the topics that we've talked about today, reach out, and there will be help there and will be guidance amongst all that additional information. Thanks very much, Don.
Thank you, Dylan.
Thanks for what you're doing.
Absolute pleasure.
And keep
Thanks
on
for
keeping
asking me
on.
And best of luck with this journey you guys are on, because it's really needed and it's a positive thing you're doing, so props to you both.
Thanks.
We heal together.
Exactamundo.
Lovely.
Cheers, brother.
Thank you, man.
Cheers, Don.
Pleasure.
Thanks, mate.